Praise the Lord, everyone.
Praise the Lord.
If y'all don't care, stand with me if you can. Read the word of the Lord for a little bit of honey this evening. And the fear of the Lord is clean, enduring forever. The judgments of the Lord are true and righteous altogether. More to be desired are they than gold, yea, much fine gold. Sweeter also than honey and honeycomb. You can all be seated. I'm getting ready to introduce a young lady tonight that is very close to me and very special in my heart. And I can say, I believe that I did the best I could when she was younger. But for the last, I would say almost 3 years,
Come on now.
I don't take no credit for what she's become.
Yes, sir.
All I did was show her in the right direction. And one day she got a hold in her own mind and in her own heart that she's going to live for this God on her own.
Right. Come on, that's good.
And I don't take no credit for that. And I want you to introduce this afternoon my daughter Ebony Martin
Yes.
for the little bit of honey. And it's, are you gleaning anything? And yes, I did have to double check that. That is gleaning. So, Ebony Martin. Come on now.
Are you gleaning anything? Gleaning is when you go back into the field that was went through by the reaper and pick up what was left behind.
Wow.
In the Bible, gleaning is mentioned 3 times. First is in the book of Leviticus, chapter 19, 9 through 10. And it says, "And when ye reap the harvest of your land, thou shalt not wholly reap the corners of thy field, neither shalt thou gather the gleanings of the harvest. And thou shalt not glean thy vineyard, Neither shalt thou gather every grape of the vineyard.
Come on.
Thou shalt leave them for the poor and the stranger. I am the Lord your God." God was telling the reapers of the land not to completely gather all the crops out of the corners of the field. Neither should they go back and get what was left behind. And that goes for their vineyards also, because he wanted them to leave some for the poor and the strangers.
Right.
He wanted the reapers to intentionally leave some for the people in need to go receive what they needed. The second time it is mentioned, it's mentioned in the book of Deuteronomy 24, 19 through 21. "When thou cuttest down thy harvest in thy field, and hast forgot to sheaf a sheaf in the field, thou shalt not go again and fetch it. It shall be for the stranger, for the fatherless, and for the widow. And the Lord thy God may bless thee in all the works of thine hands. And when thou beatest thine olive tree, thou shalt not go over the boughs again. It shall be for the stranger, for the fatherless, and for the widow. And when thou gather the grapes of thy vineyard, thou shalt not glean it afterwards. It shall be for the stranger, for the fatherless, and for the widow."
Amen.
God was again telling the head of the field that when he goes to gather his harvest, not to completely gather it, and tells the reaper, if you have forgotten a sheaf in the field, which is a bundle of wheat, not to go back and get it.
Come on.
And when you beat the olive tree and shake the olives down, not to go to the main branch, which is the bough, and shake it twice. And it finishes saying that when do you go over the grapes and the vines in the vineyard, not to personally glean over it, but to leave it for the strangers, for the fatherless, and for the widow, to glean for their use. The last place it mentions gleaning is in the book of Ruth. And those who don't know, Ruth was a gleaner because her father-in-law and her husband died, and she stood by her mother-in-law's side no matter what, and moved to Judah with her mother-in-law, and she gleaned the field to feed her and her mother-in-law. It took me a while to understand where God was wanting me to go with the word gleaning, and then it brought to my attention that there was a second definition for gleaning. The first one is to go back and pick up what was left by the reaper, but the second one was to gather and obtain and receive information. So the question, are you gleaning anything, can be a bit confusing, but substituting the word gleaning with the definition sounds a bit better. So, are you gleaning, are you gathering and receiving what information is being left for you behind? When a man or a woman of God when a woman or man that God has given a word to comes up and speaks on this pulpit,
Come on.
or even into our lives,
Jesus.
are we listening and picking up what has been
Picking it
given
up.
to us?
My God.
or not?
Very good.
Because if it's just sitting there, it's going to be forgotten about.
My God.
Everything that we are told from this platform should not be left and forgotten about.
Correct.
Like in Leviticus and Deuteronomy, it was told by God to be intentionally left for us and received. Are you gleaning anything? Even when pastor is off the platform and it's Sunday or Wednesday, we can still glean something from him.
That's right, amen.
Because if you see pastor's history in the store on Friday, they're still going to be modest and they're still going to be great and loving.
Hello. Come on
They're
now.
not perfect because it says in the Bible no one's perfect.
Come on.
But they are your reapers. And they are leaving behind the things that we need to receive.
Right.
We need to be preparing ourselves for what God has in store for us in the future. We can't say we want to be called for something if we're not willing to go back and pick up and receive the information on how to worship, how to be a worship leader, or how to be a preacher, a Sunday school teacher, or an evangelist, or everything that God's called us to do.
Come on.
And gleaning is not always just listening, but it's also watching and picking up what you see.
Right.
I think this is an amazing subject to talk about during Children's Month, because whether they know or whether we know it, children are constantly and continuously gleaning.
Come on.
How does a child learn to talk? By listening. How does a child learn to walk? By watching. And how does a child learn to write? By being shown. Now, how do we learn to pray? By listening. How do we learn to reach souls? By watching.
There you go.
How do we learn to further go in our ministry? By being shown.
Yeah.
I have gleaned patience and understanding from Brother and Sister Blake. I have gleaned genuine integrity
Come on.
and how to be truly modest inside and out from Pastor and Sister Reed. I have gleaned soul winning from Brother and Sister Jenkins. I have gleaned boldness from Brother and Sister Gerald. And I have gleaned a strong faith from Brother and Sister Gillen.
Come on.
Not that Pastor and Sister Reed doesn't have strong faith or that the Geralds don't have boldness,
Right. Come
but
on.
that's just a short amount from the entire huge, enormous list I have
My
of
God.
people who have taught me so many things and that they don't even know it. Because I trust and I know that they are the same at church and away from church. And I have went back and picked up every single piece that was given to me
Very good.
and obtained every single information of knowledge that was left for me. I'm not boasting myself, I'm just giving the best example that I can give.
Right.
Lastly, I have to ask the question a final time, hoping that I've said it enough to get you to remember it. Are you gleaning anything?
Very good.
My.
Come on.
Come on, let's